So the 2020s seem to be the decade of movies that nobody really wanted or needed. Everything is a sequel, a reboot, a remake. We're getting like an I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel slash reboot. We're getting Happy Gilmore 2, the movie that I'm about to review today. So this is a movie that isn't really necessary in any way, shape, or form, and yet here it is. It's an interesting film to say the least. Let's talk about this movie. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, click on the subscribe button, notification bell. That way you know whenever I post new content. You also follow me on Rumble, X, and Instagram. Okay, so Happy Gilmore, 90s classic, kind of cult classic comedy. Adam Sandler, kind of at like the peak of his popularity in the comedic space. He has also branched out into some more serious roles. This movie has like no reason to exist. The original's great, super quotable, some really good performances, some neat cameos from athletes and golfers and all sorts of stuff. So the question is like, what is the purpose in doing this movie? And it doesn't really have one. However, I will say I actually really liked this movie. I laughed at it way more than I thought I would. I thought it was just gonna be like nothing but, callbacks and references. And I will say there is a lot of that, but actually some of the way it's done is actually really like smart and engaging and funny. So some of the actors who have since passed away, they are like some of their family members play different roles in this. Adam Sandler's daughter is in this as his daughter in the movie, and it has like this kind of like really interesting emotional twist that happens in the first 5-10 minutes of the movie involving one of the major characters, and it really kind of like made things a little bit dark. Within, again, the first 10 minutes of the movie, Happy Gilmore is like a full-blown alcoholic who cannot stop drinking, and there's a bunch of running gags about that are simultaneously sad and very, very funny, and they kind of run throughout the first half of the movie. And Happy finds himself in this kind of competition with this startup company called Maxi that's trying to do their own golf tournament and like take over and do this kind of like futuristic golf thing with technology, and then a bunch of like really popular golfers today, some of the best golfers in the world, like Bryson DeChambeau and Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy. These guys are all like fictionalized versions of themselves in this movie, and it's just it's so weird to watch a movie where you're like, okay, Adam Sandler's 58 at this point. Happy Gilmore came out 30 years ago, dude. So like you have to really like give the audience a good reason to be engaged with these characters. And I think despite some challenges, the movie is not perfect, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I think overwhelmingly this movie is funny and has its heart kind of in the right place, despite not really having a reason for being. So I will say that this movie is like nonstop cameos. Cameo after cameo. Like if you go look on Wikipedia, you'll be like, oh my god, it's just everybody is a famous person in this movie, and I think it gets a little bit much to the point where you're just like, okay, I'm gonna recognize everybody in this movie by the end of it. So a lot of it is previous. Almost every single character from the previous movie is referenced or brought back in some way, and the movie does this kind of thing that's dumb, where it will like bring back a character and then show you a clip from the first movie involving that character to remind you who they are. It sort of makes sense if you haven't seen this movie in a long time. Again, it did come out 3 decades ago. So, but it is just a like little bit tacky and obnoxious. I understand the purpose that it serves, but it doesn't really work for this movie. A lot of the jokes are great. It's pretty heartfelt, much more than I thought it would be. Happy's got like grown sons. They're kind of hilarious because they all have like the same like anger issues that he has. He's trying to like do the right thing for his daughter and get her into ballet school, and it's cheesy, it's fun. I think the movie kind of felt like all of the best humor was front-loaded. So I felt like the first, I'd say 45 minutes of this movie were like extremely funny. And then a little bit in the middle, it kind of meandered a bit. And then they bring back, obviously Shooter McGavin is back in this movie. And I think Christopher McDonald actually like slips really well back into the character and has some of the funniest bits in the movie. So I did like this more than it sounds like I do. I don't want to dunk on it too hard. I do talk about how pop culture has become a little bit stale when it comes to movies these days because of all the rehashes and reboots. But I did enjoy this movie overall, for sure. It's on Netflix, which kind of makes sense. I don't see a movie like this making a ton of money with a theatrical release. So I think that streaming on Netflix simply makes way more sense. I don't think they were going to make a lot of money in this movie, and I think it was smart to put it out on Netflix. I think it should get some good viewership. I enjoyed it surprisingly a lot. So thank you for watching the video. Hope you liked it, found it helpful. Consider subscribing. You'd also like and share the video, and I will see you next Saturday at 9 a.m.